Courage and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining our show. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephanie Hockenhall. My partner in crime won't be joining me today. I'll be doing the show. We do have a guest, but first, if you were here with us last week, did we have a guest last week? Oh my goodness. We did have a guest last week. We had Jelly was our guest from Jelly Malinga was our guest last week. And so if you missed that conversation, go back and listen to that episode. Today, if you are here, you should be watching us on our YouTube channel, Love Misunderstood Institute or Premier Fitness 0210. So like, share, and subscribe so that other people can join the show and can learn from us and can be entertained by our silliness, our fun. We love to have fun. Also, you can catch us on TV right now. Yes, I said TV. You can catch us on Amazon Fire and Roku right now while we are streaming, while we are doing this show. It is at 5 p.m. every Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So when you go to Roku or Amazon Fire, search POD TV space LIVE, and you can watch us live on TV. If you would like to join in the conversation, we would love to have you join in on the conversation by commenting on our YouTube channel. So again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Uh, also, so we're gonna get right. Oh, you can watch us on the website too, podtv.tv. So you can watch us there as well right now. So our guest today is Arica Quinn. Come on in, Arica.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you.
Good. We are so happy to have you on our show, representing Miss Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So, Arica, tell us about yourself. Tell us about Miss Murfreesboro. First, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Who's Arica Quinn?
Well, Arica is a lot of people now. I'm a single mom. I'm a grandmother. I'm a woman over the age of 50. I am a plus size model. I'm an author, transformational life coach, anger management specialist, pageant queen, all around friend, ordained minister. What else? I'm a lot. I wear a lot of hats. But
Wow.
what makes Arica.
That is a lot of hats. So, how did you get started in this pageantry thing?
So in 2018, I was in a pretty bad car accident, and it completely just caused me to not be able to do anything. All the things that I used to do, dancing and just getting up just to walk from the bed to the bathroom was a chore.
Oh,
And I don't know if you've ever been in that spot where you were depressed, but you didn't know you were depressed, but other people around
wow.
you knew you were depressed. And
Hmm.
so my mother, God rest her soul, she saw the depression in me. And in 2019, she sent me a message. And if your mom is anything like my mom was, when she strongly suggested you should do something, that meant you were going to do what she suggested. And
Right.
so found she found the Miss Plus America pageant, and she strongly suggested that I do this pageant. And so I obliged, and I entered the Miss Plus America pageant, and that was my first pageant experience. I mean, when I was a little girl, I was in the Miss La Petite pageant, but this was like for real pageant experience. And so that's how this whole pageant journey began, and it was a lifesaver. It saved my
Wow.
and out of that, modeling was birthed because I had never been on stage in a pageant like this before and being in front of a lot of people in this capacity. And so it was recommended that I try to do a couple of fashion shows before I did the pageant. And so I entered into a couple of fashion shows, and one of my good friends, Genesis Gomez, love her to death. She introduced me to the world of modeling, and both of them kind of bit me at the same time. And they kind of have worked for me hand in hand, and both entities have been a lifesaver for me.
Wow. So you were in a low place, and your mom was like, "No, no, no, that's not it.
Hmm.
This is not what we're doing. This
Exactly.
is what we're doing."
Exactly.
Sounds just like my
Exactly.
mom.
Yes, exactly. What you're not going to do is no. Yes.
So that makes me think, and I've shared this story a few times. I don't know if I've shared it actually on the show, but I've shared it a few times to a few people recently. So one of my experiences with my mom was, me being really depressed because, I had wrecked my car, a new car, had only had it, less than 2 months, had three part-time jobs, had two babies, 2 and 4 years old at the time.
Hmm.
um, and so I didn't have transportation, so I had to quit my jobs, three part-time jobs. And the bus stop was too far away to catch the city bus. So, and it was wintertime, so I was like, I can't get my babies out there, and I couldn't get any assistance, no food stamps or nothing, because I had been working. So they said, you have to wait. And so I was very depressed and had broken up, had ended a relationship a few months prior. It was a toxic, uh, violent relationship. Um, and my divorce was final the year before. And then I got into this relationship, and then it was worse than the marriage. Um, so after breaking up with him, then I tried, okay, let me get back with the kid's daddy. Maybe things will, work out now. Maybe he, has it together. That was a mistake. So after 3 years, I was not 3 years, a month or less than 2 months, I was like, okay, I don't even want that.
Hmm.
Very depressed. Mama came over to my place and she told me, girl, if you don't stop being so doggone depressed, you're going to lose your mind. And if you lose your mind, I'm going to call the people and tell them to come put them white jackets on you and take you to the nut house. And you think I'm going to take your kids and raise them? I'm going to call the orphanage and tell them to pick them up. So, yes, I have that kind of had that kind of mother too. She passed away in 2010, but yes, she did that. But that scared me straight. when she did that, I was like, ooh, because I just knew if anything ever happened to me, she would take care of my kids. But she was letting me know, nope, you better get yourself together because I'm
Mhm.
not. And I worked hard to really get myself together then. And it took a while for me to get on my feet, but she, really helped me financially. You stay over here in this place. Don't come live with me because you got too much going on. She didn't say none of those words, but she made sure that she took. I, you need food. I got your food. I'll pay you rent. I'll pay your electric bill. You stay over here. So, I laugh about that now, but I mean, and that was so many years ago, when that happened. That was about 40 years ago when that happened. And so, so it's good that we have moms like that care and that love us and that are like, no, this is not where this is where you are. You're not going to stay here. This is what we're doing. So it's good that she did that. And then, so you've been doing pageantry work and modeling for how long now?
So since 2019, so what's that? 19, 20, 22, 3,
5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. So do you enjoy doing that kind of work? I mean, I know it's probably scary for you at first,
It's
or how was it?
there's a level of nervousness each and every time. Every time I get ready to walk on the stage in a pageant, every time I get ready to rip the runway in a fashion show, there's always a level of nervousness. But it's a good nervousness because whenever I do something, I never want it to be about me. I want it to be about those that I can uplift, motivate, inspire, and impact. And so when I'm nervous, it lets me know, it reminds me this ain't about you. It's really about God using you to impact the life of somebody else. And so, yeah, it's a it's a crazy high. Like it's the best way I can like it's my adrenaline rush. It's my high. Um it's my pick me up because there's times when especially the last 2 years, my in June, my brother was murdered of 2022, and then 4 months later in September of 2022 my mom passed. And I let
Wow.
people know that it wasn't the illness that took her, it was the broken heart. I believe that wholeheartedly, that took her
Yeah.
out here. And it's been pageantry, and it's been modeling, and it's been writing, those three things that have kept me sane.
Yeah.
Because there are other people that have been in that situation that would have went off the deep end, whether it was suicidal or harming themselves, becoming an alcoholic, or getting addicted to drugs, or even sexual promiscuity, which had been my vice in the past. But
Yeah.
thank God that wasn't my vice this time. And but pageantry and modeling and writing, those have been my vices. And when I find myself, there's been times when I've been extremely sad, and
Hmm.
it's hitting real fashion show, but it's something about when I hit that stage and it's lights, camera, action, something in me just turns on and I do what I do. And for that moment and that space and time, there's not a worry in the world. There's not a care in the world. It's just me in my moment. And so um, I treasure being able to be on the runway. I treasure being able to represent in a pageant system and being part of a pageant system in a sisterhood. And I treasure being able to sit down and write the crazy stories that I write, or the self-help books that I write. So depending on what I'm feeling that day, I tell people all the time, be careful what you say because you could end up in a book. I'm just saying. So,
I like that. And I especially like the fact that you found places to find some peace,
mhm.
in the writing, in the modeling, in the pageantry, and in the other things that you found to do to build yourself up, because um, I can't, imagine losing, family members that close together, like you did, um, and being able to handle it. So I'm sure that the ordained ministry helped as well, being an ordained minister.
It has, and I tell people, or I've said this, and I mean this wholeheartedly. If my mother didn't leave me anything, she left me Jesus, and she left me the power of prayer, and she left me the importance of being in my word. And am I in my word every day? Am I praying every day? No. Let's
Yeah,
be honest. Let's be
yeah,
completely honest. None of us really are. With the way things like life be life, and you know. But I know that I have that as a solid foundation for me. So yeah, even when I get the opportunities, I was ordained by my mother as a teacher in the fivefold ministry, and when I get that opportunity to really dig into His Word like that, um, it just does something. It first of all, it impacts me, and I learned some things. I learned some more things about who He is, who He is in my life, and then I learned some things about Erica. And so it starts here first, and then to be able to share that with others really does benefit me in a great way. And so, when I'm having those moments, I will turn on my worship music in my
good.
car, house. It don't matter. Walking through the grocery store, it'll be on my phone. It does not matter. I will turn on some worship music in a minute. I do know how to go. Okay, I got to shut down, and I need to fast. This week we gonna fast. I need to fast about some things. Or sometimes it's not even about some things. It's just God. I just need to feel you. I just
Yeah,
need to be close to you. You know. Um, or it'll be picking up that Bible and opening up that word and reading His word, and and praying, of course, praying. And then I think the important thing that my mom taught me about praying, one of the things that she used to do that I loved, she would have a silent day retreat where you would literally go, and it would be a whole day, and we would spend time together as a group, and then she would have us separate, and we would go into our own little space, and we would just spend time before the Lord, reading, seeking Him. But the most important thing is stopping, being quiet, and hearing Him speak back to you. And sometimes that would be in nature, something that I would see, a squirrel or a rabbit, or something like that, or it would be in the feel of the wind. All of a sudden a breeze would come around me, or it would be literally hearing Him in my hearing, or through the word that I'm reading, or as I'm journaling and I'm writing and He's speaking to me. And so learning to be still and allow Him to give you that time. So many times we say our prayer and we're out the door, and then we
yeah,
wonder why our day didn't go, because you didn't stop to let Him give you the instruction or to
yeah.
hear what He has for you for that day. And so I think that's one of the important things too, that that being in ministry has taught me is to be still. When he says be still and know that I am God, he wants you to listen.
Yeah.
He wants you to hear what he's got to tell you. So yeah.
So, I was listening to you, something that I learned how to do, and this is how I wrote my first book, uh, through prophetic journaling. And so I have conversations, you hear people say, here's this prompt, you know,
Hmm.
read the prompt and then listen. Well, I have whole conversations. Um, and, I mean, I say so I'll come back to the book in just a minute, and then we'll talk about books. But so what I learned through my journaling is to, uh, I have some questions, whatever my thoughts are, I put
Hmm.
them on paper. And then once I put them on paper, then I read them aloud, just like I'm talking. And then I be quiet. And then I write what I hear. And then when I look back at that and read what I said again, and then read what I heard, I'm
Hmm.
like, wow. So, um, and so now the book. So and that journaling really helps me in that way. But I learned to journal that way because when I was writing my first book, I was in a boot camp and they taught us prophetic journaling. Uh, how to prophetically write the book is what they taught us.
Hmm.
And then they have other, things, prophetic journaling outside of that. Um, so we would, in the boot camp, we would, pray, as a group, have prayer, and then we were told to now just listen and write everything you hear. Don't try to put it in order, just write it. Don't try to edit it, just write it. So that's how my first book was written. And then after that, being involved with the same group, doing prophetic journaling. Um, and so, doing that really helps me to connect with God and to have, the relationship that I need, you know, for my spirit, you
Hmm.
know. So is I like what the way your mom set that up and said, hey, let's do this this way, and then how it has helped you, and I'm sure all the other ladies, it has helped them as well to remember how that felt when they had that alone time and the response that they got, and so I'm sure that that helped them in other ways as well. Hopefully it
Hmm.
did. Um, because that's so important. Fasting is really great, a really great way to hear. So now that I've shared that about my book, how many books have you written?
So, with the book that I just submitted to my publisher last night, it makes a total of 20 books in a combination. So, I write in the urban romance space, which is
Yeah,
really how my writing began as I went through my transformation of overcoming the sexual abuse that I experienced as a child, a teenager, a young adult, and even as an adult in my life. It wasn't until I was in my late 30s that I had this trigger moment that began to bring all of this stuff to the surface. And I had to walk through some years of process,
yeah.
counseling, therapy. I tell people all the time, go get therapy. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It means you're smart enough to know you can't do this by yourself. And
Hello. I
so,
like that.
yes, definitely. And so I went through this whole journey and I learned that trauma can be transferred or transformed. And for years, I was transferring it. And when something is
Yes,
transferred, it brings about a negative result. Even though
yes,
in my mind, I saw it as normal, it was not normal behavior. The things that I was doing, the self sabotaging, the imposter syndrome, the 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 robbing Peter to pay Paul, like all these different things I was doing were actually hurting me, but I saw it as normal. But
Yeah.
when I learned to go from transfer, and then I transferred bad things onto my children that I've had to go back and apologize for because I
Yeah.
wasn't the best mama because I was jacked up,
Right.
right? And so now
Yeah.
there's some things that they are having to struggle with and deal with that I perpetuated on them because I wasn't healed. But
Yeah.
as I began this journey, and transformation is not a destination, it is a life's journey. As I
Yeah.
began this journey and learned to transform my trauma, the way that that first began was through writing. And I wrote in the urban fiction, urban romance spectrum because it was a way for me to write out my pain. And it
Wow.
was the way that I was able to release all of that pain, all of the bad relationships, all of just all of that through my writing. And so I started out um, writing, as I said, in the urban romance genre, which I still write in. I love it. It was hard for me to write in that because my mom being a pastor and me being, an ordained minister, and I was like, some of the stuff I've written, would make people kind of, but what changed for me was the moment my mom looked me in my face and she said, writing is not who you are, it's something that you do. And if people do not know and if people judge you by what you write, they never knew your character. She said, so
Wow.
write books because your books have a message and it's
Yes.
going to reach people that might not, somebody else. Now, you might not pick up, where is it? You might not pick up this book.
Put it closer.
You might not pick up a book called Beauty and the Streets, A Twisted Sister's Tale. And I actually revamped this book, and now it's called A Beautiful Obsession. The story in here is very raw, but it's based off of a true story that a woman of God shared with me about her journey. And she allowed me to use her testimony as my book. It's very raw. You may not pick this up, but somebody out in them streets
Yeah.
will pick this up, but the message that's in here will change their life. Um, you may not pick up this book.
What's the name of it?
Just talk to me.
Wow.
You may not pick this book up, but somebody out in them streets who's dealing with some relationship stuff, you'll
Yeah.
find yourself in this book. I wrote this book because I was so tired. I wrote this really because of my sons, because I'm so tired of our men being spoke to any old kind of way. And then we
Yeah.
wonder why they act the way they act and they do the things.
Yeah.
You tell him he is no good and a couch potato, guess what? He's gonna be no good and a couch potato. But if you tell him
Exactly.
he's a king, he'll begin to adapt to what kingly principles are. The more you
Yes.
pour into, the more something becomes. And I
Right.
learned that from myself. The more affirmations I gave myself, the better off. And so that's when I started going into the self-help genre. And I began to write. I think the first book I wrote was um, Breaking the Silence After Trauma, 7 Keys to Regaining Your Voice.
Wow.
And then I've started a series, and this is the first of the series. It's called Fear Factor, How to Create
Mm.
Habits to Conquer Your Fears. And there's going to be 8 other books that follow this. The second one is dealing with unforgiveness, and not unforgiveness for the person, but unforgiveness for you, because we are our own worst enemy. And when we can't forgive us, it's very difficult to forgive anything else. But when we
Yeah.
set ourselves free, it's very easy to set others free. And then I did book collaborations. And so I was I'm in, I think, 2 or 3. She the Ish, books with the amazing Ariel Ramsey, the Dream Queen. She is thebomb.com. And so I got an opportunity to be in that book. And then one of I think probably the most powerful book for me was this one, You Know My Name But Not My Story. And this talks about my journey through sexual abuse from the time I was 4 years old up until I was a an adult. And so
I,
this was the moment that that sealed it for me.
I think I read that book. Is that the one that you sent me the manuscript? I don't know if you remember when we first met. Um, I think it was that book. But is that the one where your mom was working and the boy was okay?
Yes.
It's just the name of it is what made me think because I don't even remember the name of that book. I just remember the story. So I wanted to see if that, yeah, that story was mind blowing. I read that story quickly
And
because,
every book that I've written while my mom was alive, she has read every single one of my books. She said that this was the hardest book for her to read.
yeah,
She
her
had to
not
read
knowing those
bits,
things were going on.
bits and pieces.
Yeah,
But yeah, and so I write some crazy stuff, but it's for entertainment purposes. I've written books such as He Broke My Heart, So I Broke His Pockets. Um,
Tell us about that book.
so basically, it's without giving it totally away. It's basically about a woman who's in a relationship, or she's married, and there's infidelity, and she basically puts a hurting
Got
on.
revenge.
Yep. She puts it in, it's a race against time because he finds out that she snuck in a prenup and he signed it and he didn't know it until they got ready to get a divorce. And so he's trying to figure out how to kill her so that he don't have to pay this money. But on the back end, she got a plan for him. So it's crazy. I've written a book,
Oh my goodness.
The Mile High Heist, which is about five girls who all work at the same place. And just before Christmas, the place that they work at, closes its doors, and so they basically do a heist on the business that they work at, so that they can provide for their family and their kids for Christmas. Um,
Yeah,
let's see what else. Savage and Shorty is about a a couple and how they come together, and he's got a street lifestyle and she's this educated young girl, but how they're able to come together and form a beautiful relationship. What else have I written? The book that I just turned in is actually a revamp of an older book that I wrote, and I revamped it and I changed the characters and I changed the title, and so now the name of the book is called Tennessee's Whiskey. And then the other book I wrote is called Fat Boys Need Love Too, which is actually a lot of it is based on um, my one of my younger brothers, and we sat and we were having this conversation, and I was in the midst of writing the book, and then I was like, oh my god, I'm writing this book and it sounded like you. Would you mind sharing more of your experience and I use it for the book? And he was like, of course, sis. And so um thank you to my brother Jimmy for allowing me to use his story for that book. So yeah, so I mean, I enjoy writing the urban the urban field. I've got some more books in my pocket that that I'm gonna be working on, And as an author, one of the things that I would tell someone who wants to become an author is just write it. Don't worry about the punctuation. Don't even worry about if you write it in order. Just get the story out. That is the first thing. Because once you get the story out, I promise you, going back and either hiring somebody to help you edit or going back, there's so many tools out there now that can help you with editing and all of that. Just get the story from here to here.
Yeah.
Because we always thinking of an idea, then we have to internalize it. And because you internalize it, because that's how you figure out who your characters are. And I'm crazy when I write because I be having conversations with my characters. Like, you'll be like, oh Lord, she's writing a book. Because I be having conversations with my characters. Like, girl, why would you do that? And then what really like you like literally, or I'll be sitting there and literally visually watching my characters go back and forth. And that's how I write my books because I'm a visual person. So I'm a visual writer. And so just write, just if you got a story in you, and I think everybody has a story they can tell. Everybody. And there are a
Yeah.
million ways you can tell it. You can tell it through fiction and fantasy. You can tell it through nonfiction. You can write a biography. You can write a journal. I've also written a transformational planner. I have a gratitude journal I've written. So there's a lot of ways you can write your story, And so now I'm working on my first adapting one of my books into a script. So we'll see where that goes.
Wow. So, screenwriter.
I'm learning.
All righty then. You got a lot going on. So, Mark asked the question, you just answered it, but he asked the question, what advice would you give to authors? And you said it. So, from here, from thinking about it to your heart to on paper, just write it. So, thank you for answering that question, not knowing that it was asked to you. While you were talking, I was looking to see what he was saying and writing it down so I could ask you. Um, so let's talk about, well, first, I want to ask you about bullying. I have so many questions I want to ask you. I've been writing while you were talking, and I know I'm not going to get all of this answered. But I do want to talk to you about because this show is about bullying.
Mhm.
Um, I gave you the list of just like I do every guest, the list of the different types of bullies. What was your thoughts? What What was your thoughts about this list, and what things came up resurrected as you read the different lists, the
Well,
different types?
the very first thing was how many of them categories throughout my life, at one point or another, I have fallen into.
Yeah,
I have been bullied in that way and not realizing that that's what it was.
yeah,
um, I didn't know that some of these things were a form of bullying.
yeah,
I just thought it was a bad relationship or it was just a miscommunication or whatever the case may be. But as I began to read through this list, and I have the list pulled up because it's an extensive list. As I began to read through this list, I was like, okay, I've been through physical bullying. I've been through verbal bullying. I've been through social bullying. I've been through antisocial bullying. I've been through cyberbullying. I've been through sexting. I've been through mental bullying, emotional. I've been direct. I've been indirect. I've been relational, narcissistic, impulsive, covert, relationship centered, and especially myself.
yeah,
That one really hit home because until I went through my transformation, I did that a lot.
yeah,
You're not good enough. Nobody's going to want you. You're not worthy. You're too fat. Your hair is too nappy. Uh, you're too short. Uh, you eat too much. You need to go on a diet. You to myself, not other
Yeah.
people saying
Yeah.
those things to me. Arica saying those things to Arica. So that one really, really hit home because how many times do we sit in the mirror and we dog out our own selves? We
Yeah.
bully our own selves.
Yeah.
Sometimes our worst enemy is enemy.
Yep. I like the way you said that. I never heard nobody say that like that before. I like that in a me.
Mhm.
So, what I want to ask you so many questions about that. Um, so the self-bullying, I agree. A lot of us are our own worst critic. Um, so we're not gonna, get into that. But I do want to ask you what stories to share, at least one story uh, or experience, not a story. Share at least one experience that you had with the bullying, either you being bullied or realizing that you bullied someone else. What was that experience like?
Um, I want to talk about the antisocial.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the antisocial because and I think there'll be people that can resonate with this. So when my mom was the founder of a ministry called Voices of Faith, and within Voices of Faith, during that time, I was part of Voices of Faith, and I became pregnant out of wedlock. And one of the things that happened, like I said, I didn't know that this was a type of bullying until I read your list.
Hmm.
But all of a sudden, I was no longer being asked to participate in things from those around me. Like, no one called to see if I wanted to go to the movies too. No
Yeah.
one called to see if I wanted to come over and hang out too. Just because I was pregnant didn't mean I couldn't still do those things. But
Yeah.
it was like, oh my God, she's Pastor McCoy's daughter. She's pregnant. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, I had a disease, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I was tainted or whatever. Not to mention that when some of those very same people came up pregnant, I never shunned them.
Yeah.
I never kicked them to the curb. I never, but that happened to me. And I don't even think that people realize that they do that to other people.
Yeah.
That's the flip side of that. Um, and so that's one story that kind of resonated for me when I was looking at what the definition of antisocial bullying is. And so that's just one way that I experienced that, not knowing that that's what I was
Experiencing.
actually, experiencing.
Yeah.
Um, um, and then of course there's the social exclusion. Um, as a plus size model, I deal with that a lot because many times we are invited to the party but never asked to stay. So we get these opportunities to come to a model casting that includes all sizes, type thing. But what they're really looking for is a size 12. Well, honey, I'm here to tell you that a size 12 is not plus size.
Yeah.
That's average. That's no
Yeah.
longer plus size.
Yeah.
Plus size woman is me. Those sizes 16, 18, 20, 2X, 3X, 4X, 5X. Like my girl,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the young lady that's on TikTok. And she's got I was gonna remember the song, and now I can't remember it. But I love her. I just love her whole energy. And she basically has a song where she's talking about, um, you know, big big bad girl, get to the back. Big bad girl, you need a snack. And then she's talking about how these industries, these clothing industries, say they're all inclusive, but when I go into their store, I can't find my size. And if I do find my size, they got me looking like a 96-year-old granny in a muumuu dress with flowers on
Yeah.
it. No, thank you. No,
Right.
thank you. And
Yeah.
so socially, as a plus size woman, all the time, all the time,
Wow.
we get told socially that we're not worthy of love. What does my size have to do with whether I can be loved or not? Be careful, because we some of the best lovers on the place of the place of the face of the planet. We're just here to tell you. Plus one
Yeah.
equals that. Okay. Big boo. Yes, I tooted my own horn. But we're as a plus size woman, I can remember like getting on an airplane and that kind of thing. Like, okay, I can fit in the seat. I might have to, adjust my belt a little bit, but
Yeah.
you whatever. I'm not gonna make the plane crash because I'm 230 pounds. Okay, my
Yeah.
little 230 is not gonna make the plane go down. So and then just even on social media, um, or being told socially, "Oh, she's got a pretty face." We get that as plus size girls all the time. Oh, she's so pretty. She's got such a pretty face. There's more to me to my size.
Amen.
My heart and my mind are bigger than the size of my body. Okay. And
Yeah.
so, that happens a lot. That kind of social bullying happens a lot in the being in the plus size community. And then we won't even talk about just being an African American woman. Because I can't have an opinion or raise my voice in intensity before I'm called an angry black woman. But you
Yeah.
was just yelling at me. Make that make sense,
Yeah.
right? And so that social bullying, that's huge. That's huge. And that's what our kids deal with
Yep.
every day in
Yeah.
school, in sports. If you're not the best at whatever sport you're in, you get bullied by the coach.
Yeah.
You get bullied by your teammate. I mean, it's just, yeah, that social bullying is huge. It's really, really
Yeah.
huge. And then you wonder why you got people shooting up schools. A
That's
lot of
what I
that
say.
is because of bullying. It's
Yep.
not because folks is crazy. It's because they get sick of being bullied and ain't nobody doing
Yep.
nothing to help them. And
Yep.
quiet as it's kept, when you are in a position to help somebody, especially these students in the classroom, I'm getting on my soapbox for just a minute. But when you are a school administration and you are not helping these kids who are coming to you saying that this person is doing this or that to me, you are just as accountable as that student who comes in that school and pulls the trigger. And you
Yes.
have bullied that student because you didn't help them. And you
Right.
allow them, or the crazy stuff of someone bullied. I'm just going to use this as an example. Somebody bullies my grandson, and then my grandson retaliates, but you suspend my grandson, but you don't suspend the student who bullied my grandson when my grandson's been telling you for months that this kid
Yeah.
keeps messing with me. Make it make sense, people.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. The system is broke.
Yep.
The system is a bully.
Yep.
Even governmental systems is a bully.
Yep.
You people who need help out here in these streets. And this is a transparent moment. I'm about to tell my business. I'm about to be really transparent. But I just, because I'm on disability and I only have a certain amount of income. And yes, I need some. Look, I'm not the only one in the world right now who needs some help with groceries because that's a bully in itself. It don't make no
Yeah.
sense that I can't buy some eggs at the grocery store
Yeah.
and have to figure out if I'm going to buy eggs and milk or if I'm going to get some meat and some rice to feed my
Yeah.
family, right?
Yeah.
And so I just got recertified for my SNAP benefits. $50. What's that going to do?
Oh
The
my goodness.
a bully. What's that going to do?
Wow.
What's that going to do? What's that going to
That's
do?
horrible.
I'm on a fixed income and I still have to pay rent. I still have to pay public service. I still have to pay car insurance. I still have to put gas in my car. I still have to be uh I still have to pay. I have to have renter's insurance on the place that I live in. I still have to pay other bills. I have to make sure that my son who's in college, that I have some extra to make sure that he's got so he can do what he needs. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then you're gonna tell me all I can get is $50. What's that
That's
gonna do?
crazy. Oh my gosh.
To live off of for a month? So now I've gotta figure out and manipulate finances, which keep me in a hole that I have to keep digging out of because I've got to be able to put food in the house. Make it make sense.
Man.
Make
Yeah.
it make
Mark said a couple things. He said we see that with the homeless situation, government is the biggest bully. And then also he said, and the landlords keep raising prices. That is definitely bullying.
you know. And
They,
so when you talk about that social bullying, all of this falls, all of this falls into, and I know some people are probably gonna disagree with what I say and have something to say about it, or ooh, she shouldn't have said that, or what. But the truth is the truth. The old folks used to say, "Call a spade a spade." The
yeah,
truth is the truth.
yep,
It's the reality that we are living in, and so
yeah,
everybody is dealing with some type of social bullying, whether you realize it or not.
yep,
You know, in the workplace, I remember working in a job where I was training people. As people came in, they had me training people, but then I would get passed over for the promotion, and the people that I was training would get the promotions. Make it make sense.
that happened to me. That was my third bad job experience in a row. The first one I was fired from after 5 years of watching people come in and hire fire people to hire their friends, and then so the fifth year it happened to me, and then the next year I was working for a friend that was creating a job position for me, and so I was in a temporary position, and so some things happened. It took longer than I thought it should to create the position. So I quit and went to another job. And then I was training for supervisor there. And somebody else came along that had that experience, before. And so they were hired for one position and they ended up giving her the position that I was training for and I had to train her. So yeah, I know
Yeah,
how
make it
that
make
feels. And
sense.
I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Something is not right. I don't know what it is. And then I saw this video. Um, it came out the week before I got fired because I ended up getting fired because me and her, she was trying to keep me in a space, away from everybody. They were used to coming to me getting the answers, because I was ordering parts, aircraft parts. And so the engineers were used to coming to me. And so she was telling me, tell them to stop coming to you and to come to me. Well, I can find so we ended up getting into it and I ended up getting fired. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I saw a video of a little boy talking about his mama was videoing him saying, I've been bullied, I don't understand why people have to treat you so mean just because you're different, you know, um, and some other stuff. And so I saw it the week before I got fired from that second job, and I was like, wow, my heart went out to the little boy. But when I saw it that next week after I got fired, then the Lord said, that's you. That's you. You've been experiencing that in the workplace for years. You experienced it with your son when he was in sixth grade. That's the most. That's when it, really intensified because he experienced it before that and after that. And then you also experienced it in relationships and that church pregnancy thing. I experienced that too. And so the Lord said, it's time for you to learn about it so you can educate others. And so that's what has me on this journey of educating about bullying, because I had no idea at that time that there was this many different types of bullies. I didn't even know anything about types of bullies. I just knew that I was tired of experiencing what I had experienced, and I heard the Lord speak, it's time for you to learn and teach. And so that's what I've been doing. And so we're almost out of time. I told you the time go by quick. So I do want you to tell us something though, because you said something about your confidence level earlier. So I do want you to share with the audience, um, with the things that you experienced. How did you build your confidence level to be able? And I know you're probably still doing it, but I'm quite sure you're in a better place now than you were with that before. So, what are some tips that you can give us to build our confidence level when it comes to bullying
I'm gonna try
and
to say
experiencing bad things?
I'm gonna try to say this as efficiently and quickly as I possibly can. But I liken what I've gone through to that of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. There is a process that happens. And the first thing that is that you have to die to yourself. You
Yes,
have to be willing to die to that old stuff, to them
yes,
old voices, to those old habits, to those old thoughts, to those old processes. And so dying to yourself is difficult because when the caterpillar dies to itself, it literally eats itself from the inside out. It
ooh,
consumes its own self. Are you willing to allow yourself to consume that nastiness and get rid of it once and for all? You have to die to self. And then you once you do that, the beautiful thing is what the caterpillar needs is already inside of it. So when it dies, then it forms the chrysalis, which was already inside of it. So everything you need to transform, God has already placed in you. But you got to die to yourself so that He can bring out of you what's already in you that's going to cause you to move to the next level in your life. And then it goes through the metamorphosis. We know, we've seen, we've watched it go through its metamorphosis and its change. The beautiful thing about transformation is when you transform, you come out something different than what you were. And I close with saying this: the beauty is not that the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, but the beauty is that the butterfly can never go back to being the caterpillar.
yes,
So when you come out of those old,
yes.
you can't go back to that. It won't even feel
Woo!
right. It won't taste right. It won't look right. It won't fit right because that's not who you are anymore. So the Arica that you see now, this wasn't even the Arica 2 months ago. You know what?
Wow.
Because transformation is continual.
Woo!
The thing is to let it start. And it's gonna keep you, it's gonna keep going and keep going and keep going. I transform every day. The Erica that's on this show right now won't be the Erica that wakes up tomorrow morning.
Yes, yes,
You know what I'm saying? But
yes,
the beauty is that initial caterpillar that I transformed from, I can't go back to that caterpillar anymore.
yes,
So when those what they call stinking thinking, when those thoughts
yes,
start coming up, I go, oh no, that's not you no more.
yes,
So I don't even entertain that stuff anymore. Doesn't mean something new ain't gonna come down the road because you keep living. You're gonna go through some stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't have to go back to that stuff. And walking out the process helps me when something else comes. I already know what to do. Okay, it's time for me to go through my metamorphosis again. It's time for me to die to something else. It's time for me to get in that cocoon, to spend that time with God, to seek what I need. And then it's time for me to grow and develop and emerge
Yes.
as something different.
Yes. Ooh, wait, that's powerful. Child, that's powerful. I love that. All of that. Well, I am so thankful that you came to the show. I am so thankful that you shared with us. I wish we had a little more time. In fact, I will make a little more time. The Miss Murfreesboro, tell us how we can help you with that. How we can, uh, tell us about that real quick, and then we'll end the show.
Okay.
How can we help you?
So the biggest thing, and I'm all about transparency as I've gone through transformation. I still have $2,000 that I need to raise before I hit that stage next month on the 27th. I still
Okay.
have I still have to finish paying off my fees. I still have to um, get the rest of my wardrobe. I still have to take care of my travel and my lodging. People have the misconception that when you become a pageant queen, everything is given to you. That is so far from the truth. We have to get out there and hustle, and we
Yeah.
have to raise that money. And so I have been posting for months. I have a what's called Sponsor My Sash, where you can literally for $25 buy a letter on my sash, and your name goes next to that letter, and I shout you out on all my social media and everything. I For those that are in Murfreesboro, in the city of Murfreesboro, I'm doing what's called Egg My Yard, and you can actually um, uh, order eggs that I will pre-fill, and the night before Easter, I will come to your house and I will hide the eggs for you so that when your babies wake up, they can have an Easter egg hunt. The other thing is, which I'm going to go live probably this evening, I have two beautiful cups that my best friend, Kim Barnes of KB's Custom Design, did for me that I am raffling off. And so it's just $3 to enter the raffle, and you can enter as many times as you want to win one of these cups. Or if you just want to just give and say, I don't want to do anything, I just want to bless you, you can do that. You can do that through my Cash App, which is dollar sign Arica, Arica with a capital A, Quinn with a capital Q, Quinn, or through Venmo, which is at Miss Murfreesboro 2024, or through Zelle, which is quinnpmllc @gmail.com. So if you just want to just say, here, I just want to give to you, or you can reach out to me and say, hey, I didn't catch that. How do I just give to you? And just give. And so that's the biggest support. And then of course, if you can buy a ticket and come be in Gatlinburg, Tennessee at the pageant and have your smile with my name on it and be Team Erica, that's even great.
Oh, I love that. So, audience, you have heard, and we will put it on our post on social media so that you have that information and you can contribute to help Erica win Miss Murfreesboro. Uh, that word, Murfreesboro. So let's help her out. Let's help her let's help her win this pageant. So, Erica, thank you for being on the show. This has been uh, a great conversation. I have learned a lot more about you. I have learned a lot more about different things, and I appreciate you. Uh, Thank you.
You are so
So, um, Guys, join us next week at 5 p.m. Central. Oh, is there any last words you want to say to the audience?
Again, I'll just close with two things. You cannot change what you will tolerate, but you can tolerate the changes you choose to make. And remember what
Wow.
I said, the beauty is not that the caterpillar turns into the butterfly. The beauty is that the butterfly can never go back to being the caterpillar.
Thank you. I'm glad I asked you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You
So,
are
y'all, we
welcome.
will see you next week at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on YouTube or on Roku, Amazon Fire, whichever you're watching us from. And we have an outro video. Um, and so take care. We send you love, 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 peace, and joy. Take care. Bye for now. And thank you again, Erica.
Thank you.
Heard the news today, the police took another life. Gunshots rang out, even though he had his hands held high. Yo, I'm sick and tired of walk my brother's short lines. Need to come together, set a plan, and then mobilize. Oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about all the hell that we're going through? God stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all, we can do this, you and me. Monsanto monopolized the whole grocery line. So we all gon' have 12 toes, 3 thumbs, 3 eyes. If we keep being sheep, these wolves are gon' rob us blind. Let's occupy our mind space, cause the revolution won't be televised. Oh, what are we gon' do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about all the hell that we're going through? Now stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, y'all, we can do this, you and me. Stand up, rise up and know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up, y'all, we can do this, you and me. Oh, mercy, mercy me. The government should nurture all that we need. When will all these wars be done? Hopefully before the children gonna have the money. Yeah. Before another mother has one person. Shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand up, rise up, you know you ain't gotta follow, you can lead. Stand up y'all, we can do this, you and me. Stand up, shout out into the walls of Babel on the feet. Stand up, come on y'all, and let's make some history. Stand